Hey guys, it's Tom Box. Pop quiz time. Some of you guys have been, lack of a better term, getting cheated on this because some people just argue this ruling. Some judges don't know the actual ruling, and so we are going to address it here today. It's going to be different dimension ground or dimensional fissure versus Azaroon angel statue. And basically, trap monsters versus banishing versus cost. We're going to address it all here in today's video. So make sure you guys hit the like button, hit subscribe, ding that notification bell. Can it not? What is this actual typing? What if, you tribute over a masterpiece and what kind of immunity do you get off of that masterpiece? Let's put it all here in today's ruling quiz. So make sure you guys hit the like button, hit subscribe, ding that notification bell. Oh yeah, and shout outs to Russell, shout outs to Riley for bringing up these scenarios because they are occurring. And a huge shout outs to Bazim for kind of cross-referencing a lot of the precedents and sending all that resources to me. So huge shout outs to you guys. But before we get started, check us out at MST.TV. Of course, it's our own brand of sleeve here at MST.TV. And I'm really proud of the product we have, especially the white V2s. They feel like the classic PC whites and they sell a lot, and we are running quite low on the stock of the Ulti Instincts of the Ulti Egos. Put a little flair into your life, represent your own energy, put it into your sleeve, so maybe it'll help you top deck, connect you with your deck with the Willpower series. And if you want to protect your foil sleeves, or you just like double sleeving in general, well, we have oversleeves for you in the rough matte texture or the flat texture that you like, that's so smooth, so glossy. It is wonderful. And if you want to sort out your product, of course, we have the exclusive box dividers. I think they're called box dividers. Did we name the product? I don't know. I don't think we did, but we have, of course, the box dividers and the subdividers that can put tabs in your boxes so that you can find cards quickly in your collection. Sell the extra stuff we want. Make a little bit of extra cash. Check us out at MSTmerch.com. Thank you for your support, and let's get to this ruling quiz. Okay, so question number one, and as per usual, we're going to establish the scenario, the psychology behind it, and the back and forth between the players to come to a disagreement which requires them to call a judge. And this is a classic one for this format because we do have different dimension ground being played through Triple Tactics Thrust, and of course the Azaroon statue being played by Steel Hat Rabbit. So on the field, player A side, the opposing player, they have an Azaroon statue summoned onto the field, and there is also a different dimension ground that's already been activated at the draw phase. So all monsters that would be sent to the graveyard, they're banished instead. And now there is a statue. And player B, the current turn player, goes into main phase, attempts to special summon out Kashtira Fenrir, a monster that summons out without starting a chain. And because it's a special summon, the player A is like, oh, I'm going to activate my Azaroon statue, send it to the graveyard, and I'm going to negate that summon. Okay. Player B is like, hey, wait a minute. Isn't different dimension ground active? So you can't pay the cost based off of the card text right here. While this card is in your monster zone, you can send to the graveyard one continuous trap in your monster zone that will special summon from the spell and trap zone, negate the summon, and if you destroy the monster. But different dimension ground's active. This is currently an effect monster. It's gonna get banished. And so this is the back and forth. And player A is like, oh yeah, I don't. It's not a monster when I send it. I'm sending it as a trap. See, it says this card's also a trap. So I'm choosing to send it as a trap. And they get into disagreements like, what do you mean you get to choose sending it as a trap? So that's the disagreement between the two players. They're not really that thorough with their rulings, and you come in as a judge because there is a disagreement. Judge call gets made, and they explain the scenario to you. You have 5 seconds to answer this question. Be confident, or else they're gonna appeal you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. So player A's answer sounds kind of half-assed and sounds like he's trying to cheat you, but although his explanation is incorrect, the resolution would be in favor of player A. So say someone's trying to summon a Phantom U-Bell and they're under DDG. Well, the Azaroon statue will still be able to negate it. The main reason is because rather than, oh, I'm choosing to send it as a trap card, you're always going to be sending it as a trap card, because when you're paying cost to send stuff to the graveyard, it's always going to consider the original typing first, and the original typing is the one that's active, since DDG does only send monsters, and if it's being sent to the graveyard right now as part of the cost, the original typing is a trap, so it's going to be sent to the graveyard as a trap card. So therefore it can hit the graveyard. So under DDG, yes, you can still use Angel Statue Azaroon. All right. And that's something that you have to consider for the original typing of any of these trap-based monsters. Question number 2. To elaborate even further, we're going to test Droplet into the mix here. On the field, there is a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, as well as the Kashtira Fenrir. And I want to stop my opponent's monsters. I want to negate them both before I start comboing. And so on my side of the field, I have already an active Angel Statue Azarun, and I have a Shade Brigadine. Now the difference between these two trap monsters is one is not considered as a trap anymore, and the other is still considered as a trap card. So Shade is not, and the Azarun is. And currently active on the field is a Different Dimension Ground. I attempt to activate the Forbidden Droplet. I send my Angel Statue and my Shade Brigadine, and my opponent's like, oh, well, I'm gonna basically negate that with Dragoon. They discard a card and negate him. Like, hold on, you can't negate it. I sent a monster. And then they get into an argument. This one should be pretty easy. You come over here. You can solve this basically in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. On the resolution, as a judge, you would come in here and say, just read Forbidden Droplet. Forbidden Droplet considers the original typing of the card. It's written on the text, so even though you sent Shade Brigadine and it's only considered as a monster, the original typing of the card is still a trap card. So essentially, you sent 2 trap cards, and that did not lock out the Dragoon, so the Dragoon obviously can negate your Forbidden Droplet. And it's quite simple to that. And the other thing that might have come up in an argument is that, hey, you actually can't send the Shade Brigadine. That's a monster. That's only considered as a monster. However, there have been precedent rulings towards this where even though it is currently not a trap card, when you send stuff for cost, it still considers the original typing first. It's very important that we understand the original typing of cards because this is the reason why, say, Inzektor cards under Dimensional Fissure, you can still use Inzektor Hornet, you can send the Equip to the graveyard and still pop the card because it's now considered as an equip card. An equipped card is technically a spell card and it's in the spell and trap zone, so therefore it's being sent as a spell. Think about Union monsters as well. Union monsters also does have that kind of bypass when it's sent from the back row to the grave because it's considered as an equip card. It's kind of within that same realm there. And so in this particular case, yes, you can send even the Shade Brigadine that's not considered as a trap card, but the original typing is still a trap, so it's sent as a trap. It's as simple as that. When you send stuff for cost and it's a trap card, it's considered as a trap card. So even though you're under Different Dimension Ground, those cards are still going to hit the graveyard. Likewise, these have been precedented for a while now, like Prime Monarch and the first Monarch. If Dimensional Fissures on the field and you activate Dark Hole, both of them would be sent to the graveyard and not be banished. Ruling number 3, this is the one that Team Sam and Pack kind of had it mixed up in the beginning of YCS Niagara and later on corrected it and played it correctly later on. So which one is this? It's Stand-Up Centurion. Stand-Up Centurion, kind of a tangent to the trap-based monsters, since we have monsters not acting as monsters once again. So what's the scenario here? So current turn player plays Stand-Up Centurion onto the field and decide to activate the effect because it was activated this turn. And so they send a card from their hand to the graveyard and places or attempts to place a Centurion monster from the deck to the spell and trap zone as a continuous trap. However, that is met with a chain of a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Man, what a powerful card since it's going to be destroyed. Well, out of a lack of any other option, they decide to chain an additional card, Emblema Oath, to place another card into the spell and trap zone, one of the Trudea, Centurion Trudea, into the spell and trap zone. Okay. And on that resolution, Trudea gets placed in the spell and trap zone. And on the resolution of Ghost Ogre, the players stop for a second. And player A attempts to argue, now that I have a Centurion monster, yeah, my Stand-Up Centurion doesn't get destroyed. And player B is like, well, I'm Ghost Ogreing it right now, and your Centurion monster isn't a monster right now. It's a spell and trap, or it's a continuous trap right now. So it doesn't protect Stand-Up Centurion. And they get into a bit of an argument. One player's about to send the card to the graveyard anyway because oh, whatever, don't want to get into an argument. But then as a judge, you step in, you see the scenario happening, you're like, hey, hold on. You have 5 seconds to answer this ruling. So you have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the answer lies in the card text of Stand Up Centurion. It cannot be destroyed by card effects while you control a Centurion monster card. Very simple. Monster card, specifically. That means there's a distinction between monster and monster card. Monster card references the frame of the card. And I would know this because Therian King Regulus's negation requires you to send a Therian monster card to the graveyard, either from your hand or on the field. But what if you equip a Therian to a Therian? Well, you send the equipped Therian to the grave because that's still considered as a Therian monster card, right? That's the simplicity of that particular scenario. And because of that, since based off of that reference, that means the Centurion monster card, if you put the Trudea into the back row during the resolution before Ghost Ogre resolves, Stand Up Centurion would not be destroyed because the protection effect is now active, resulting in Stand Up Centurion in Chainlink 1 still resolving and getting the additional monster being placed. And therefore, it's super beneficial, and you basically +1 your opponent because they lost the Ghost Ogre for free, and you got your monster still in the back row. Sorry, let me correct myself, monster card in the back row. So how did this affect Pac and Sam? Well, for the first half of the tournament, they thought that, hey, Stand Up Centurion probably thought that they got destroyed, and then in the later half, this scenario did come up after they learned about the ruling, and then they adjusted to this exact scenario where they would just chain Emblem out to put a monster in the back to protect themselves from getting hit by a Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre being very, very popular is a pretty common thing, but that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two and don't get screwed over by your opponent's crafty wording to make you think that you can't do something. And don't forget to check out MST.TV. Get yourself some nice oversleeves. I love our stuff, especially the oversleeves and the box dividers and the white. I guess I like almost every single product because I do use everything here, especially within my own collection. Box dividers in particular, because they are a lifesaver when it comes to searching out cards. Everyone wants to borrow my cards, and if they want to borrow my cards, all they gotta do is put it back when they're done. And it's really easy to put it back in the right place when everything is sorted. So check it out at MSTmerch.com. Thank you for your time. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day. Stay frosty, and I'll see you all in the next one.